On this week's episode of Made in America, we put together some highlights all about technology that support manufacturing growth. From additive to robotics to automation to marketing tech and beyond. Listen for tips that can help your facility grow to the next level. Just a quick reminder for you to like, subscribe, and rate this podcast so we can get your feedback and know how to make it better.
We're always looking for the next best machine software. We have the latest and greatest. We stay up on technology all the time, including with the additive. We were always looking at it when we had an opportunity.
Yeah, like you've said additive a few times. Let's kind of talk about that. What kind of additive are you guys doing? How'd you get into it?
We're doing metal laser sintering. So it's titanium powder that gets layered and lasered to each previous layer, and we're making spinal implants with that. So that was an opportunity that came to us in December of 2020, which was the worst time that it could have been presented. But I figured, if we're going to go down, we're going to go down big. So we jumped at it. And again, it's another thing where you don't know what you don't know, and thank God you didn't. Because, it's been good. It's taken about a year to really get everything validated.
So when you said the opportunity came, so let's just take one step back here. So you're doing metal powder, additive manufacturing with laser sintering. So essentially taking this powder, you have a design, and then it sort of lays down the powder, use a laser to sort of harden it, and you keep laying on layer over layer. So how did this come to your attention that it was available, and what were you when you decided to take the plunge? What were you what made you decide to jump off that bridge?
So we were, like I said, we were always looking at it, and it was
just because you just thought it's
because we thought it was going to be the next thing, and but it's very expensive to buy machines. We're close to $1 million, so and we didn't, we just didn't. We were keeping our eye on it. So we had an opportunity. There was a company in Connecticut that was leaving Connecticut, and they had these machines. They just decided they're a huge Swedish company, and they wanted to get it. They decided one day, let's try contract manufacturing. Thinking easy, peasy,
anyone can do
medical
it.
Contract. We have billions of dollars. Let's do it. So they did it. No, they said no. So that August of 2020, they just said we're done. We're closing. So Adam, who was working for this company,
so that'd probably been a pretty tough year for them anyway, right?
Yeah. So other people that we knew through the business through the years came to us. They said, do you know anybody who would want to buy them? And someone that knew us said, let me give Westcon a call. So they called us, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of crazy. But he said, well, can we come talk to you? So they did. They came and talked to us, and Adam basically said, I need a job. And there's not a lot of companies that would hire me. There's not many in Connecticut doing it. So he gave us kind of a business plan, and we were able to get 3 machines for less than the price of one, plus a year's worth of powder.
Oh, wow.
And I negotiated. It was we went to go look at them the Monday before Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, I was negotiating with them. We had to purchase them by December 31st. and there we went. And there it is. And Adam came on, and now we have 3 people pretty much dedicated.
Seriously?
We have another engineer starting in September. We really didn't start shipping product until January, and it's been
January of this year. So it took you, so that's what you said, almost that full year to just sort of figure it out?
Yeah, kind of figure it out. Well, validate the machines, get with the customers. Yeah, Adam had been working with some customers that he was ready to onboard, but then the company was just closing. So he's like, sorry, we're closing, but I'm going over here. But it also put us at another level because we are doing the additive and subtractive, that we call it now, under one roof. And there's only about 4 or 5 companies in the country that are doing that all under one roof.
I think people have been led to believe that everything has to be expensive to be good, and that's not necessarily true. For fractions of the cost of a single employee, a company can have our technology in there that does the work of 10 people on a daily basis. Remember when I told you it takes 15 reports to put together the kind of summary that we provide every morning at 6 a.m.? Think about the people the people and time that takes to make happen. think beyond the sticker price of the thing that you're buying. Think about the ROI. Mm-hmm. Think about the things you don't have to do because you spent the $25,000 to have this software operational in your factory. Think about what your people can now go do because your production meetings every morning at 8:30 are actually production meetings. They're not people staring at their feet because they don't have answers. That's the key.
And no one's debating about, well, the cycle times don't seem right. I'm not sure that, Jane was properly logging that. And Joe missed 2 days because he forgot to update the iPad. And we had the other tablet and the battery died. Someone dropped. Like we just free them up from that and get them running.
It's two things to that.
Sure.
Our product gets the data right from the controller. We're not asking anyone to interpret the data. And two, we're not an all or nothing game. Like Victor De Cruz has deployed us on half a dozen of his machines at his facility here in Connecticut, and he could deploy us on 6 more, and then 6 more, and then 6 more. It's not an all or nothing game. Add as you need it. Put us in the hot spots that are your most critical jobs, and put us in the other areas as you start to feel more comfortable. More people are using the product. More people are trained.
Listen, I love it. I think people need to lean into it. I'm just excited to have you on here because we need some tangible, what does Industry 4.0 mean to us? How do we embrace it? It's been talked about. And so to have you come on and sort of share the Datanomics vision of it and what it can be done. And I think open people's eyes to the benefits that could happen if they capture the data that's already being generated.
That's right.
That's already being generated.
It's a raw material right there in their factories that they're not taking advantage of.
Share a little bit about what you've seen in some of the technology and what you think has made real impacts that you've invested in your business.
Yeah, you're right in that people tend to think of the technology just being in the machines, but it's on all the other support functions too. Like in IT, just on all the inspection records, but excuse me. Also, like inspection equipment, things that used to take us. An hour a piece to inspect. Now it's like 30 seconds with optical scanning and all this. So you have to keep up with that. I think we invest in technology basically when it makes real common sense to increase the flow of the product. So in other words, we're set up in like flow lines producing parts, and we tend to look at the how would you say it, the overall output of, let's say, the flow line or the cell. And then whenever you're reaching a point where the volume's got to go up, your tack time goes down, you're trying to produce more, then the first thing you have to say is, well, how can we do this with the same people and the same, that. So it forces you to invest in technology. It's not always in the next milling machine or something like that that's a little faster. It's quite often in the inspection or something like that, because it's a matter of flowing the product quickly and meet customer demand.
Where do you see automation going in the next 10 years?
If you don't get on it, you're not going to be around. Yeah. You're going to have, in some capacity. I'm not saying your facility is going to be run by robots. It's not going to be like, what's that iRobot there where, but it's going to help you get your workforce to be able to focus their time on the really important things they need to be worrying about, not loading a machine to make a part. Our marketing person just posted a study that was done. I don't remember. No, forgive me if I screw the numbers up slightly. Sorry. But I want to say the study was done from like 1990 to 2000. And they found that companies that invested in automation in that time period, from the time period from 2000 to 2016, saw a 50% increase in the number of jobs they had in the facility. Companies that did not actually saw a 20% reduction.
The main reason that we've been able to keep a lot of our manufacturing in the U.S. is through investment in automation, and that started, many years ago, far before my time. My predecessor really kind of helped to lead that effort. We found that investing in automation, it has a number of benefits. It helps to bring down the cost and the price. It improves the quality. We're introducing and developing, higher level skills within the organization. And we're continuing to invest in that area, through today. We have, some pretty. If you were to take a tour of our factory, you'd see, a lot of automation equipment.
When, not if.
When you do, exactly.
Yeah,
when you come see the museum, tour the factory, we give a great tour. So a lot of automation. There are certain operations that historically may have been an operator, someone that's doing the same routine task for 8 hours a day, whatever that is, that now we're able to have, there's collaborative robots, the term cobots, where you have an operator interacting with that robot. And so you're able to take away and remove some of those more routine, they're not really attractive jobs for the most part, and train those operators that are working with those robots on new skills. And they become more marketable. They're able to develop and grow and learn as a result. It's just a better position, a better livelihood than, just taking A and placing it in B for 8 hours
listen,
a day.
it always shocks me that people are like, cobots, it's so weird. And I'm like, what do you mean your computer's a cobot, right? Excel prevents you from having to do all the math in the columns, right? In the old days, someone had a ledger book and had to do the math, this is just the same thing, but now it's just in a physical world. And I think it's really cool. So what are you guys doing to innovate? Something I wanted to bring up was I did a talk for the SMA a while ago, and one of the things I talked about was about sort of recruiting, getting the word out for manufacturing. And I think we talk a lot about it's not the dark, dirty, dingy days of yesteryear. It's the lean, green, and clean manufacturing of the future. And there's really an opportunity for people of this generation and new generations to have a different view of manufacturing. Right. When I was sort of coming of age in the 90s, like it wasn't even talked about to go into manufacturing, even engineering. It was all consulting and finance and doctors and lawyers and political science and IT. And so we missed some of that, but I think it's been really coming back. And one of the things I really encouraged people to do was get onto the new modern communication platforms. And I noticed you guys have a TikTok account.
Yeah, we do. Look, I keep saying it, I'm 60 years old, but you will never catch me out of tune with technology or social media or anything else. We hired a digital marketing intern recently, and he's got to keep up with me. That's how it has to go. And he's brilliant, by the way. But in any case, TikTok, 1 billion users. When it first came out, maybe we're going back 2 years. I asked my daughter about it, and
how did it get on your radar?
My daughter.
Okay, you saw her.
I have two daughters, and they both were on TikTok, and so they set up. They came to my office. They set up an account, and then I set up the app, and I started watching it, and I was really kind of dismayed. I mean, it just was a lot of, let's just say, inappropriate things going on there, and I think it was geared more towards, let's say, the younger people, right? Mm-hmm. And I kept my eye on it, and I'll tell you, I love TikTok. I find it so purposeful and educational for my own being. Health experts and business experts and financial people, and I just love it. And then TikTok figures out, the kind of things that you like, and they bring you more of those videos, right? And the data on who's watching TikTok now, the largest group is 45 and above. I don't know if you knew that, but it's 45 and above. So 1 billion users, these are all people. These are people that are probably in business. These are people that might be in supply chain positions, that might be buyers, that might be engineers, that guess what? Might be buying plastics, right? So
a lot of people are.
Yeah. So we started, I think we've got about 6 or 7 videos up, modern_plastics on TikTok. They're hilarious. They're just edgy. They're fun. And in the 30 seconds that, we're trying to do these videos, keep them in the 30-second range, we're going to send an educational piece about plastics and how they're being used and changing lives. But we're doing it in a really fun way. It is edgy. It is fun. It is different.
Where are you guys leveraging technology a lot today, a prospect machine that may be a surprise to listeners?
In marketing. Our sales manager was out doing the typical visit the customer and had a prospective customer in the area, made a phone call. Hi, I'm in the area. Can I come over? Stop in. Answer was no. And he was very taken back by that. He's a very nice person. Why couldn't I stop in to say hello? And looking at it, we realized that the group of people that we were trying to connect with realistically did not want to see us. They didn't really want to talk to us. So we made a very big push to go with digital marketing. We have a chat room on our website. We redesigned our website. We have an SEO that we work with to keep our website active, alive. And in the last 3 years, that is how we've attracted all of our new customers.
100%.
100%.
100%. All coming in through online.
Yep.
We've really grown organically. Preeti and I own the company. We've always struggled to keep investment out just because we want to control the growth. But we have a great marketing team. We do a lot of talk about, making lemonade out of lemons. COVID happened and we built a studio and we do webinars all around the world. Just last week, we had a surgeon who's one of our users in New Orleans doing a webinar for a group of doctors in Thailand. So we were in our studio controlling it. He was talking in New Orleans and the other doctors were sitting in Thailand. We did one yesterday with the surgeon in Seattle and the doctors in Singapore. And we did a webinar for them talking about how to use the technology. So that's what we leverage, our marketing team and the technology at our disposal. And we've been using that to grow.
Using technology to sell technology.
There
Smart move.
When you think about technology now and the advancements, it really is the equalizer. You can now compete. The things that happen in Connecticut, I like to say the group that we have here in Connecticut, our supply chain, is the best in the world. And the reason I say that is we have got a higher cost of living here. We have a higher labor cost. We have higher energy costs. So if you're making it happen in Connecticut, you're the best of the best. You can't just get by in Connecticut. You got to be really, really good at what you do. Now you look at technology and say, we can level the playing field with some adoption of technology to help smooth out that labor costs, or through other processes, help lower your energy costs and your energy consumption. So the adoption of technology at this point in time is more important than ever, and it's accelerating.
Sort of curious what you see from an ecosystem standpoint and how you're looking to leverage the ecosystem to make MFT better and how MFT is maybe contributing to make the ecosystem better.
I'm really glad you asked that question. We're doing a lot of work right now with Ron and the group over at CCAT. Right, we're into model-based manufacturing, and we've invested personally in some equipment, and we're over there working on those things. The goals for overhaul and repair have not changed. You want to compress the downtime of that aircraft, and you want to extend the part life. There are new digital tools that can really help that we're working on and we're getting ready to bring to market. And to put it in perspective, if I can compress, or we can compress, somebody can compress, say, 10 days less to turn an aircraft, and you got 50 aircraft, you just manufactured 500 days of lift. Talk about taking pressure off of the system. Mm-hmm. So we're into this technology, and not just there, but that's a great partnership that we have there. Really, really pleased.
Is that the name of I want to get back to the organizations, but just is that really the name of the game from this perspective? Is we got to keep those planes. Got to get them out to the market as quickly and cheaply as possible, but then keep them flying. Because every day they're down is just a lost opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, you got to plug something in now. Now you got a redundancy, and you start to manufacture airplane days intuitively. It has to be a lot cheaper.
I want to talk a little bit about the technology investment. Yeah. Talk about how you guys think about it. It's such a critical component in every business, especially in manufacturing, because you've got so many competing demands, and the equipment's so expensive, which you alluded to.
Right.
And there's always the chicken and egg, right? It's we need the equipment to be able to do the work.
Correct.
But if I don't have the work, and so just talk through your thinking of how you think about investment decisions in the business and where technology fits in there.
It's always a challenge because the equipment is expensive, and you're right, it's the chicken or the egg. And I remember having conversations a few years ago before we bought this new press, which again is $6 million. And to having the conversation with my former CFO, he's since retired, saying, Don, are we going to be able to afford that? Like this is the real deal. So Kerry Brown, who's our vice president of operations, to his credit, he did a lot of research. He went to all the printing press manufacturers and pretty much presented to myself and to Bob, who was our CFO. And I think Bob's jaw hit the ground when he saw top speed of this machine is 15,000, top speed of other machine, 10,000. Or make ready times instead of 45 minutes per color in a setup is now only going to be 15 minutes. And these kind of statistics back and forth. And then ultimately it's dollars and cents. So it's okay, maybe we're going to have people retiring. Are we going to be downsizing at all? How do we afford this technology? But I'm telling you right now, being in Connecticut, you need to have that technology. It's expensive, and employees, it's very different what I have to pay someone if I was in Kentucky or down south, or maybe I'm going to pay someone in Newtown, Connecticut. So we really have to be smart. We don't buy lots of pieces of equipment. We buy very strategic pieces of equipment.
We are investing in technology that we can say is lights out. So we can literally run machines overnight or part of the night unattended. The building's dark. The machines are running. That's a beginning for us. We're not really deep into it yet, but some companies are deeper into it. And that's going to make them competitive in terms of some of these global parts that were only going to be done in China, for instance. Now they're going to be done here.
How does lights out manufacturing help you do that?
Well, think about it. You don't have labor on it at that time, at that moment. Even your cost for electricity may be lower. You might be at a lower rate. The machines that are designed to do that can generally have a robotic type system, which means they're changing out a part and grabbing another. So those are all things that make you competitive.
How are you thinking? I mean, that seems like you got to have some technology behind it, right? I mean, you don't just plug in a lights out machine and it just goes by itself. So how do you guys think about, building up the technology that you need to have to operate a machine like that?
Sure. So it's a big investment. There's no doubt about that. And then it's training, and it's having people that are minded towards working in that respect. So it certainly is an investment, but I think the end result is that it's rewarding, and that it's great to be able to compete. It feels great to be able to compete.
Talk about model-based definition. It's something I know you're passionate about. I know it's getting pushed. Let's just start with this for people that don't know what it is. What is model-based definition? People may see it as MBD.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What is it?
It's the creation of a digital thread in a 3D CAD file. What used to happen is you had these blueprints or things going in 2D CAD files. The customers, the large customers, were passing files throughout the supply chain. They need to be converted. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and the cost rise on that. But also what happens is inaccuracies in these conversions take place. So this is one of these things earlier we talked about, top down, bottom up. This is coming really from the top down. It really flows down from the federal government, saying we need to make sure that our files that we're converting back and forth are accurate, are working. So model-based definition looks at that base design all the way through. The considerations are made all the way through the inspection of that part, the creation of a full digital thread. It's almost like the DNA. Mm-hmm. You're creating a DNA of the part. So you no longer have the designer saying, well, I designed the part, let's go throw it into manufacturing. Well, the manufacturers get it and say, this is a ridiculous design. This is too hard. Right. And they go back and forth. And then all of a sudden it gets to, well, we built the part, now we have to inspect it. And now the inspection guys are scratching their head because it's too difficult, or they're not seeing, again, consistencies in what they have to be measuring for. Model-based definition and really digital thread technologies are really going to move this whole industry forward. Connecticut is uniquely suited for this. This is something we can own. We could be the leaders in digital thread technologies for the world. And we have got a great effort going on. We've got a federal program that the state was really aggressive in getting, these Defense Communities Grant. We have an Industry 4.0 program that the state, again, the Manufacturing Investment Fund Board had the foresight to put out there. So model-based definition, really, really key. We've got to make sure, like what you're doing with CMMC, when you look at the two things that are going to be most critical for the supply chain, certainly over the next few years, you have to be fully cyber compliant and all those things, and you have to be model-based definition enabled. If you don't meet those two things, we're going to have some risks here in the work that we're doing.
Made in America with Ari Santiago is brought to you by CompassMSP.
Thanks for listening and spending some time with me today. My goal is to help build a strong manufacturing community, and it would be impossible to do without all of you.